striker. Sign a striker. Get a striker in. Plan B should be a striker. This tactic won't keep working. Get a striker. Bialic. Bialic. It's pronounced Bialic. Is it? I don't know. It might not keep working. Maybe. Hello then folks, welcome back. It's the final day of the championship season and we are relegation free. I'm just out the shower. My hair's very floppy, very annoying. If it flops down at any point, do let me know. I will quickly replace it. So yes, we are at our final day of the season against Cardiff City, a side that if we beat, we could finish above. We could finish as high as 15th, results pending, of course. At the bottom three sides then, Reading, QPR and Swansea have been doomed to relegation. The end of the season kind of went as I thought it would go. I thought we'd have some decent results against sides that I actually thought we were much better than. And we had some results that surprised me a little bit. The 3-0 defeat to Fulham, obviously not great. 1-1 against QPR, 4-1 against Bristol City, before a 5-2 victory over Blackpool. Yeah, Tom Lawrence is exceptional. I want to show you a couple of Tom Lawrence goals against Blackpool because I just think they're great. It's like he only scores screamers. And I feel like if you're not seeing them, you won't know. A 10 rating for Tom Lawrence. This here was one of the goals he scored as it's laid back and played into him and one touch, bang, like it's nothing. Lovely goal from Tom Lawrence. And again, he got a couple of others. There's another one I want to show you. So he's just running forward here, could get closer, forget it. Just putter it in from 25 yards like it's nothing. Lionel Lawrence is in full effect. Not a player I want to let go at next season. There are many players that will be gone, but he's not one of them. And as I mentioned at the start of the episode, plan B for many of you is bring in a striker. Now, whether we bring in a striker to play as a striker or to bring in a striker to play central midfield or to play out wide, I don't know. I guess at that point, we still have the striker to use if we want to, but do we use him as a traditional striker? I don't know. I'm sort of in love with the tactic. I'm in love with the fact we changed it to an anchor man. There's a lot to like about this. And I'm still trying to understand it. The big question is that the wingers this season haven't been that effective. It doesn't really matter who's played out there. It's not been that good. Ravel Morrison hasn't had a particularly good season. You can see if we click on Ravel, 5 goals, 6 assists, but it's a 6.60. Like, it's quite an underwhelming performance on performance. I'd say the same applies to Asaidi, to Sibley, to a few of the other boys that have played out wide. But yeah, the midfield lot that have done a storming job. Aziz, Lawrence and Knight have been fantastic. And of course, we're going to lose Jason Knight as he goes off to Newcastle. I probably would have got far much more money for him. I shouldn't have let him go in so early on. So doing the balance, it's pretty good really, isn't it? But let's play Cardiff then. Let's give an opportunity to some of these boys then to prove that they should stay in my side going into next season. Nathan Burns going to come back in at right back as we look to play Cardiff then. And how high up will we finish? Again, the task to begin with, as the title suggests, was to save Derby County. And I think it's pretty fair at this point to assume we have saved them. But it's all well and good saving them. I don't want to become a team of mid-table mediocrity. My goal next season, with the money that we've got to spend, despite the teams that are coming down, obviously being favourites for promotion once again, is to win the bloody league, viewers, with the help of Wayne Rooney. That's the job. He's a master at the transfer window. And think of that. I've got to get in touch with Wayne. The Manchester United, the Everton connections could be pivotal to who we bring in going into next season. My connections with two sides that I've basically made up, and elite sides from Europe that I don't think like me as much anymore. Yeah, not great. That was scary. And he scored there. But it's been a pretty successful season. And again, we've talked about it many times before. If we hadn't had the deduction, we'd be fighting for those playoff spaces. These end of game results would have, or end of season results, sorry, would have been really pivotal to pushing us on that little bit further. I just realised my lights, camera, action. You literally couldn't tell. My window is open, to be fair. Well, this has been a scintillating display of footballing ability. I'll tell you what, look at the state of this. 4 shots in the whole game. Yeah, this has been, I think the only way to use is depressing. This has been so sad. We're keeping the ball quite well. We just haven't really created anything yet. It's not good enough. In fact, it's totally unacceptable. So what I'm going to do to try and force things a little bit. I'm going to try and get my wingers even more involved than they have been before. Lower the tempo just a little bit. Lower the passing just a little bit. And again, there's one more thing I like to do as well, is play that little bit wider. Not completely wider, but fairly wide. Because you start on the positive mentality and the positive mindset, it's sort of the case that everything is quite fluid and quite attacking and quite forward-thinking already. But we obviously have to change maybe the way in which you're playing just that little bit. Again, playing that little bit wider, trying to stretch this back five, which we have found to be the most difficult formation to play against. So this kind of makes sense to me. There's a corner, though, to Cardiff as they loft the ball in, and that is flicked all the way over the bar. I guess there's something to be said here. We should probably make some changes in wide areas. Jack Stretton's always done okay when he's come on. And Luke Plange, plan A, well, he was plan A for a lot of it. He's now plan B. But I'd be really interested to convert some like proper strikers into central midfielders, right? You know the sort of striker I'm thinking of, don't you? Sort of the Bobby Firmino, Harry Kane types, but the championship versions. And a lot of people suggested, in terms of making the challenge harder, and we're going to talk about it at the end of this season, as one of the worst games to end a season of all time. So thank you for watching that with me. I'm glad I didn't suffer it alone. But the thing that I want to focus on now going forward is how we approach the future, because the one thing people do want to see, and this is tough to do, but it's something I don't mind doing, is making signings here at Derby that are realistic, and that could be our big challenge. Now, of course, we're going to go further forward here. I want to find out the budgets for next season. We need to establish who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. Post-match press conference, I'm not doing it for this occasion right now. So yeah, there's lots still to talk about, really. And what type of transfers do we make? Do we create a homegrown rule? Is that something we can maybe go for moving forward? But is the homegrown rule a little bit arbitrary? It feels like, is there potential here for us to just sign players that would realistically sign for Derby County? And if I'm not sure, then I have to ask you about that. Transfer details then, of course, these are some of the players we brought in, some of the ones we didn't bring in as well. We'll focus on a couple of the free ones. Yangba MB were brilliant. I mean, an A+ rating. They loved that. Rim and Aziz as well, really, really good. Ravel Morrison, of course, was already here. Asaidi, a B+, not too bad. Stephen Fletcher, we'll move on. I mean, you know, that didn't all work out. So if you were to add, we would have been in there. If you were to add 21 points to our 51 points, we would have 72, and we find ourselves playing Sheffield United in the playoffs. Now, going into next season, first thing to check probably is who's coming down before we look at anything else. And will the board give me that little bit more money? It seems to me like they've got a lot. The initial budgets are in. Okay, right. We know it's 10 million, but is it much more than 10 million? How stupid is this about to be? The board set initial budgets. If they're lower than 10 million, there's going to be outrage. Here we go. Then 3, 2, 1, boom. 25.9 million. I've just been talking about keeping it realistic. 25.9 million in the championship. Right. Well, does that change everything? The expectations must be end of next season. Fighting Brave against relegation. You've given me 20. Pardon? I've got chills, viewers. I've got chills at the idea that I'm going to have a very different side. But in terms of the restrictions, it does allow us to basically do anything here. I think I should only sign Champions League caliber players. That's the way it should go from now on. So, develop players using the club's youth system. Yes, that's something, of course, we can try and do. Depends how long the series is going to last. Obviously, we want to see the best of those youth players. That reminds me, we had a phenomenal regen day, and I tweeted about it and didn't mention it in the video on Wednesday. I'm so sorry. Right, let's get to it quickly. While we're on youth prospects, Stefan Brevet was one of those. But if you go to the under-18s and you look at the potential that's recently come through, there's quite a few. Keyshawn Brown is another one of those. I will say, right, we've got a lot of 5-star potential players, and Derby are exceptional at bringing those through. You can see some of the players in my side right now that have got that in them, right? There's no one right now that is there and at the level. We've got a 15-year-old Barbadian who, you see there, Jonathan Lawrence, who looks, again, quite interesting. 15 passing already at that early age. Very good. James Studholm as well. Pacey, winger, striker. Depends what you want to use him for, really. But there's quite a few of these guys. Of course, we'll see throughout the save if any of them are to become superstars. Louis Watson, we already know about, again, has been on loan out somewhere else this season, as well as a couple of others, right? Alfie Roberts, maybe a future goalkeeper, but again, right now, not the guy. I don't really want to make this a youth challenge. I don't think there's enough players coming through that we would not sign anybody. I don't think that's a route we go down, really. But of course, trying to get some of those into the first team and incorporate them into what we're building here it would be great. Like, it would be lovely to see a bit of a derby spine here if we could do it. Let's go back to the club vision and the expectations then. Sign high reputation players. That's what they want me to do. Okay, well, not a problem. Sign players under the age of 23 for the first team. Oh dear. I make no promises. The signings I've made so far, none of them which have been under 23. Work within the wage budget. I didn't even consider the wage budget. How much more wage budget is that than normal? Only 25,000. So it's not that much really. Of course, we could... I was going to say we could change things, but we actually can't at the moment. 25 million quid! Maximum 1-year contracts for players over 34. Sign players to sell for profit. And a minimum of 2-year contracts for first-team players. Okay, well, okay. Grow the club's reputation. Fight bravely against relegation. That's got to be crazy. Like, they want to remain in the championship and all this sort of thing and work towards repairing the club's financial damage, which... obviously a little bit bugged. Already been sorted, boys. Don't worry about that. But now then, we have a situation where we can go... big. Our transfer budgets have been set. We can do training camps. We can go to the East Midlands of England, which for those that aren't fully aware is pretty close to where Derby are already located. But no, I think we should go to Austria. I've always wanted to go to Austria. It looks absolutely lovely. That's where I'd like to go, please. So what are we going to tell the boys? What are they going to want to do? Because I want to be up there really. Like, I want to tell them that I want to go for the playoffs. But I'm looking at this here. They're not fully believing of that. We're good enough not to be involved in a relegation battle next year. It's not that positive, is it? Right, well, they're encouraged and relatively happy about it all, and the morale has gone through the roof for some of them. Craig Forsyth and Stephen Fletcher, less happy. Everyone else is fine, though. But £25 million. I mean... what? Right, let's take a look at the teams in the Premier League that are coming down then. Who's joining us in the Championship? Because the big thing for us really, and I think most people would agree with this, is that the best teams in the Championship in the first season of Football Manager and in real life are Bournemouth and Fulham, and they've gone. So, who's coming down? Who's joining me? Again, if I could pick one of these sides to go up, it'd probably be one of West Brom or Sheffield United, who I think are more Premier League ready. Get them out of this league, by all means. And let's see then who's coming down from the Premier League. So Brighton, who have some really interesting players actually, are already relegated. And what do you know? Norwich, the other side, that are coming down. And then it's a bit of a toss-up, but it looks like Brentford will be coming back down as well. So that's the three then, probably. But at least Brentford, Norwich and Brighton. And that's not easy, right? There are three teams that are... not quite good enough for the Premier League, but definitely contenders for the Championship. And they are teams that, if possible, with our new financial power, we can maybe take a few players that I know are decent in the Championship. Like this Brighton side, you would think are going to be taken apart, right? Basuma is such a good player in the game. Someone like Lamptey is going to be here for a while. More Pike would tear up the Championship. Trossard is also really good. McAllister, again, another really good player at Brighton. Obviously, they've had a poor season to finish bottom of the league, or as good as, is obviously not great. And all the loan players now will probably disappear from Norwich, and they're going to have to rebuild a little bit as well. We might be fighting for the same players. That's what makes this quite exciting. But I can't believe we've got so much more money than planned. I thought it was going to stay around. I thought maybe it'd go to 12 or 13, but to go £15 million more than I originally thought. Of course, our balance is healthy. It makes sense to give us this amount of money, but they obviously know I'm going to spend it. And that's the bit that makes me a little bit nervous for the overall balance. It's a bit of a, we must get promoted here. Let me know your thoughts, though, in the comment section. Of course, there's always things we can try and do to make this more interesting. Like, we could add some stipulations in if you think that was something that we should do, unless you want to see me just go for it. Like, there's part of that as well, right? I could just be a man that gets this job done as quickly as possible. Of course, and I've seen the comments, people have been playing derby saves and not getting takeovers nearly as tycoon-esque as mine, and it's a lot more difficult. But to watch this happen could be quite exciting. Is it a game of how quickly can I achieve something? How quickly can I win a trophy? How quickly can I win the Premier League with this tycoon backing right now? And how much more money are they going to pump into this team and make? Are they going to make us a force of not just like the Championship, but of the Premier League when we get there? I don't know, like stadium-wise, are there things we should be asking for, like improvements of all sorts? I don't know. Shall I ask them to increase the transfer budget? This is cheeky, isn't it? They're absolutely not going to allow me to do this. This is chaos. Imagine they go to 40. That'd be fun. I can only assume they're going to go, we've just set a budget. You're taking the mick in a way. But I think it's exciting. Don't sack me for asking this, obviously. That seems unjust. But let me see. It's a present team of the week. Well done. They've rejected it, but they're willing to listen if I can put a compelling case forward. We're going to be beaten to our targets if we don't up it. We will be shortly assessing the club's budget, so please wait until then. This concludes this meeting. In future, do not waste our time with things like... What do you mean, waste our time? I thought we had a working relationship. Well, are they going to up it or not then? That wasn't clear at all. They've basically just gone, get out of our office, please. Obviously, they've just set the budgets, and I'm cheekily being like, double it. Which, obviously, they're not going to do, but... If you don't ask, you don't get, do you? As I've just seen there, Norwich are going to sell Todd Cantwell to Bournemouth. I imagine there was already a clause in that contract. Cantwell was already at Bournemouth. So, again, the big thing for us is that Norwich are coming down and Cantwell won't be there. We'll go with Bournemouth. So, again, a decent, again, championship level player that's moving on. Well then. West Ham in extra time have won the FA Cup. Just to update you again on some Premier League's goings on. As, I think the season must have finished now as well. So if we just take a look again at the Premier League. Oh, it's not yet. The FA Cup final started early, apparently. So yeah, you can see the top of the table. Liverpool look like they might wrestle it away from Manchester City. Again, very, very close at the top. And we're happy with our 18th place. But now what are we going to do? What can I do? Is there an obvious player? Do I pick apart the other sides? Like QPR, Lyndon Dykes there has just gone down with QPR. 20 goals to his name. Is that the kind of guy? As not a massive amount more money pumped in there, is it? 17.8 million in sponsorship. Blimey. Oh God. I'm just continuing through to get to the playoff final to see who stays and who goes. Tom Lawrence isn't contracted for next season, and it's only just come to my attention. Okay, Tom, sorry about this. Important player, obviously. Let's just get that sorted out. He's already on about 30 grand a week. We're just going to knock it down just a touch. No dramas here. Again, promotion wage rise, things like that, Tom. £27,000 a week. Sounds right. He's happy with that. We're all winners. Please don't leave me. Please don't go. Please don't leave me. Stay here, please. Thank you. All right, West Brom and Sheffield United are the two sides then, locked in battle for the promotion to the Premier League. Of course, one stays, one goes. One goes? No, one stays. Yeah, well, that's literally what happens. One stays, one goes. Here we go then. West Brom versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United then are the team to rise, and West Brom remain in the Championship, which makes the Championship quite a fun but tough situation going into next year then. Yeah, Brentford, Brighton and Norwich are the teams coming down. Who's joining us from League One? Let's find out as well. Charlton, Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday. Three sides that you consider Championship or even Premier League sides of yesteryear. So the Championship gets that little bit more intense as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very, very fun season next year. But of course, we kick things off tomorrow then with a transfer special. Let's see what special treats will join us tomorrow. Take care, folks. I'll see you again for more. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you want to see more, make sure you're subscribed. Season 2 starts tomorrow. On a Monday. Sorry, Monday. Season 2 starts on Monday. I'll see you on Monday. Take care.